favourable for him as Barn is for Calaris, I think. It's sort of that level, so he's obviously going to be elated to see this one unfold again in the same area of the map. Next circle going to be coming on in 5 seconds.
It's an unfun area. It really is, because so many teams have this weird situation where it's unconfirmed on either side, and a lot of our circles here have had some of the Eastern Island cut in as well, as you see on our screens. And this easily could head back over towards the eastern side and support Cellcom Digi Alliance, but it really does make it tough going into the future for a lot of our squads. Now, 4&V, this is where I hope they can get a strong game off the back of this one. That compound is very safe down towards the south side. It's very central as well. CAG Osaka moving up over towards Dock here, and this is a wide split from him. Has to immediately run back towards his team. Doesn't even try to fight it. More or less playing as a scouting position, assuming when the next team's going to be going up over towards that high ground. I think he's even scouting out for his teammates, but CAG make that quick rotate coming in from Camp Alpha. And now it's RRQ going up against Von Donkey.
They are not going to have the best of times on the roll-up. RRQ, they were on that northwest side, one of the few teams to actually get cut out by the circle. As hard a shift as it was, there weren't actually that many teams to suffer from it, but RRQ were one, and they had to make their move over towards Voin Donkey themselves and in towards the northwest side of Hartin. They only managed to get Fnatic into the building. He's into the fight still. Brute Force with their remnants, Neos on that north side. Influence Rage already out. Top of the table starting to suffer. D+ slow on their rotate approach from the south. You can see them on the picture-in-picture as Fnatic tries to hold his nerve against the 1v1.
A lot of times for D+, they have made these late rotates in, wrapping all the way on that western side, but because this has been so unconfirmed over where it was going to end, it has been difficult for D+ to find a position inwards, but they have been slowly slipping down the tables, and I'd like to see a little bit more strength out of them. Osal gets shot from behind there, does have to reposition, but there is initial knock going through over towards Stalwart, and another, I imagine, soon. Luckily, Fabian is in a location where it is resable, but smokes will be required.
Sending that position forward to Fabian, I mean, it's a calculated risk, right? You know there's that rock in front of you. As long as you get traded off, you can crawl in and go for that res. It's much more likely that you can get res than your opponent. So you know that in general, it's going to be a profitable trade to move forwards on average. Obviously, there is always risk involved with going for a play like that, but for now, looks like D+ may profit off of it. 2 players down. Stalwart still looking to move. I think there's still players from RCB who could third party into this engagement blank, and that may be something that they're unaware of for D+.
D+ might be a scary scenario going forward. Smokes are down. They're able to get themselves a lot of their players back up on their feet. And there is a rotation off towards that northwest side, where there's a compound in play, but whether or not it's in play by the next circle is a different matter altogether. And I think at this point, they sort of have to deal with Stalwart on their frontline jump.
Oh my goodness, we're going back to Hartin and the open ground to the south of it as well on that circle. That is nasty. But Loxy is on the march, on the approach. Will it catch D+ gear off guard, or will they be able to snap around and handle it? 30 seconds until the next zone closes. If he tries to strike before the blue zone is pushing onto D+, I think they're going to be able to handle it, get those reses. But if he waits a little bit longer when the blue zone's pushing, he might be able to just knock one of them and force them to take a play forwards without going for the res.
I think his real struggle right now, he's going to be very concerned about meds, and when he is healing, D+ makes the smart choice to move over towards that eastern side. I don't really know how they play out this next bit. Loxy will go down to the blue. Something that I assumed might be happening there. Spending way too long out on the outer edges. It's DRS on the southwest side of Hattin. They were able to get some kind of a position here, which is not terrible, to say the least. They can take shots over towards the north side, because it is a weakened Voin Donkey as well as RRQ.
The northwest side. RRQ did manage to get rezzed up to 2. D+ try and take a swim, but Stalwart is still there in the way. Getting cover sure for Osal, but he knows now the rest of them are swimming around out there. All he has to do is line up the shots. Fabian's the next, and he's immediately clocked onto another, but the step back trying to keep his team safe, but Nolbu down to Fearless. The off angle's there, and it's just chips remaining. D+ torn to shreds, asunder by Stalwart, and it's just terrible news for them. And the blue zone pushing as well. These reses can't come through. It's just chips left. D+ in shambles.
I think in general, South Korea has some very strong gameplay in terms of rotations, in terms of tactical nature. However, in that scenario, I think I would have much preferred to see smokes been thrown forward and then just trying to envelop Stalwart's position. You know they're down to 2. You know you're not getting much further into this game, so you might trade 1 or 2 knocks and then get the eliminations in the end, but that would have been a much better position to play in. If you could have finished off the team, get 4 eliminations, it was so unlikely they were getting much further in this map anyway, so you may as well take a risk off the back of it. Especially with them rotating into 4MV in that front line. Next circle does pop, heads over towards the Vicious here, who have a very strong position going forward. CAG Osaka control a lot of that high ground off towards the east, but Thunder Talks are still in the game, and I think that is going to be a big factor going forward. This time, Thunder Talks not throwing themselves off the mountain and might have a little bit more of an impact in this match, hopefully.
Not throwing themselves off the mountain yet. We're still waiting. Could still happen. But they're taking a fight with CAG Osaka. Looking at the tables as well, Blank, they're in a position that may be a little bit more malleable now, because the top 3 not doing so hot. D+ are out, brute force on 1 player. If they can handle this fight, get a big gain, they can jump up and compete. Same for 4MV, but they've got to get through it first. It's not going smoothly on this engagement. They're stepping into it. A flex out, 4MV are trying to move on into this engagement as well. The third party from Thunder Talk as 4MV just sweep on over the top here, taking off a player from Thunder Talk, moving almost all of COG Osaka away. Is the feud finally going to be concluded as Doc racks up 4 eliminations?
It's a lovely play from 4MV. They scoured this earlier with Doc. As soon as they hear the fighting, they realize that, this is going to be a very good position to be playing in future. Doc throws a famous Doc nade over towards CAG, banking it off the back of the UAZ. In the meantime, Team Secret getting pulled apart by Team Liquid, who are able to get across early. This is a reoccurring fight that we see often from Team Liquid and Team Secret, but both teams do make it across the water this time, so a bit more land-based gameplay.
Real big crash on the northeast side of Hatin. Ayala, last player to stand now, and only 1 player left to handle. The P90 around the corner, looking for the spray down, but he's out of ammo. And Secret find the opening. Team Liquid down, but Cellcom Digi Alliance are pushed in. Maybe a third party that they don't know. They don't know what's happened at the back of the bubble nade, but it's only going to the top floor. The push forward's not fast enough. Are they not going to be able to capitalize? Meanwhile, on the south side, Blank, 2 players from Thunder Talk did drop down. You can see King, and I think that's also Xing there, played forwards from it. AJ moved out with his teammate to try and take that position over towards COG Osaka, but 4MV swept through. They're now taking that high ground angle, and AJ has an impact on the backlines. Reefus does fall, but the fact that the Thunder Talk moved 2 players forwards is going to give them a great foothold. 4MV committed to the edge, and instead they're going to be playing out in the cold a little bit on this east side.
It's a tough rotate for both teams getting down this hill, and there wasn't too many opportunities to make much happen. They did leave Reefus on the back line to provide that back stuff to support both these players getting up. It is a last-ditch attempt from 4MV, especially with the circle continuing to head over towards that north side. Could have really helped out anyone here. The Vicious did just have a fantastic spot to play around. Good shot from Doc. I'm not sure if it actually knocked the player out of the vehicle there, but Apex finding another over towards AJ. He should be knocked out by the blue going forward. I don't think his teammates are there to pick him up, but the E-limit is stolen away by DRS, who are racking up some points on the southwest side of Hatin.
Hey, they've got that whole corner locked down. Cellcom Digi Alliance, instead of breaking out into open ground and going for a mad crash, they're going to push through Hatin. Sweeping through Hatin is really their only choice at this point, and it seems like it might be what they're going for. Slowly moving along into the circle. They can play on this north side, allow the south side fights to conclude. You know you've got Doc and Apex on that south edge who will take shots as soon as you step out. Going for that position on the ridgeline, whilst it may be tempting, it's just not going to work out for you. With the angles that the Vicious hold, with the angles that 4MV hold, it's highly, highly contested. 4MV crunch into the edge of the circle, but all eyes on Hatin.
basically only the players you can play now. For 4MV, I think they have a little bit of hardcore to work around with. It is unfortunate that Soga goes over towards the north side, which completely cuts 4MV out and enables a game for Vicious to keep on going. But the worst part about all of this is because it cuts a little bit of Hardtin in, it means that these fights are not going to conclude early. So for Thunder Talks as well as 4MV, who are hoping for a top 5 off the back of this, they're not going to be delivered that off the back of this one, and shots go through. And that will be just Apex now left alive for 4MV, with Cellcom Digi Alliance having a full broadside on them.
When Apex is going to go down next, so they are out of the running. 5 points on the match, and they are outlasted by Neos, who I think is now out in the blue zone potentially, or very, very close to it, with DRS just ahead of him. Could be a third party. Ooh, a little roll-up. Thundertalk find a knock over towards the Vicious, but the nades going to be sent back out their way are going to be so devastating. They are very, very known on their position, and that's a brilliant shot from Timonor over towards the position on the north side, towards the DRS, to find a knock and slow things down over there, cause trouble on the north edge. Meanwhile, Thundertalk, they're not going down just yet. DRS actually not able to take shots just for the moment, and the Vicious not going to suppress it. The smokes are there, and Xing is loud all the way up and to the wall, and so is King. Both of them make that crossing out and up into the buildings. This is dangerous for the Vicious all of a sudden. The angles, sure, they're open up for DRS, but Xing finds the rock. Unfortunately, not so lucky for King. Has to step back, and now just one player for Thundertalk, but where have the Vicious gone? They've evaporated.
Yeah, there were shots of DRS, but this is an unfortunate game from the Vicious. Most of the players that were assaulting their position went down to other teams. The Vicious has been completely passive in this location. No bite to this bark from the team. One player left remaining, and what should have been a simple chicken dinner for the Vicious suddenly gets out of hand as we hit stage 9.
Crawling under the stanchions now. DRS are encroaching all the while. Xing wants to push up. He knows that he's got the inside track on the blue zone, and Brunozin has to peek out, but DRS are in for the third party. The long range angle, and it's a 1v2, but DRS from Hardtin control it. And finally, Nepal find a breath of life to push them up the tables. Blank, we've been waiting so long for this team to perform, and finally, in match 13, they find it.
It's a good hold on the southwest side, but overall, John, I would call that a completely sloppy game from a lot of our teams. I think the only team that I would really respect from that was DRS. How did the Vicious go down there?
Max, go ahead. I'm not even going
Let's
to
get
take
it.
this.
The prediction is on point for me for once. I got it.
right?
Oh no, but like to be completely fair, looking at how DRS played this game, Hodgix, I have an idea of what happened. Okay. I think they looked back on the two Sanox of day 1 and day 2, thinking we kind of like that D plus Kia rotation. How
Dude,
about
right?
we do the exact same thing? And guess what? It was really good.
Dude, it worked out perfectly for them. I love that for DRS, you know. And D plus Kia, we saw them, you know, obviously they go and land in docks. We get another northwestern circle, as is tradition, you know. And I like the fact that, well, I understand what they were trying to do. They're trying to do the same thing we saw yesterday, right, with this kind of circle. They were staying in the blue zone on the south side near boot camp, waiting to see if the circle went on over to the east side or west side, right? And unfortunately, the zone was too heavy on that west side for them that there was nothing that they could do. So they just got stuck out in the open and weren't able to get it done. But DRS, they took that strategy. They beat, obviously, D plus Kia to that compound, and it worked out perfectly for them. This is the exact thing that they needed, right? They needed that chicken dinner to kind of break through that, you know, that ceiling and finally just be like, all right, let's put some points on the board and get out of from the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I mean, their best game so far. I mean, of course, they didn't get chicken dinner, so it is their best game so far. But elimination-wise, too, they got themselves 10 eliminations on the board. And that is purely off the back here, Dukes, of them going on the southern western side of Hardtin, which not only allows them to then funnel out the teams that are trying to leave Hardtin, which is the best position where they were at the point to do that. And then that transition to leave the city was also facilitated because they were playing edge of the city in the first place. So eliminations and placement points came just rolling down for them because of such a good early rotate, and then especially sending it in such a strong position on the edge of Hardtin.
I do want to talk about another team here really quickly that I know kind of confused the casters a little bit and kind of confused us, to be perfectly honest. D plus up against Stalwart.
Yeah, so I think we
I looked
agree.
it there just to see how you guys react.
Yeah, Jukes, do we agree they should have fought Stalwart instead of sending it to water? Yeah.
Yep, they definitely should have. I mean, and that's kind of like that hard problem is like, DRS, they didn't hesitate, right? They just knew like, hey, we're going to commit to this compound. We're not going to wait. D plus Kia, we're trying to, wait in the water, literally, right, to figure out where to go. And then, no, they go ahead and start swimming it up and just got taken out by too many different squads. Yeah, you can see that right here. Look at that Fearless. Fearless, by the way, great shots in the water. He knocked out 3 right there. Beautifully done.
Yeah. D plus Kia, like, why do we have lungs? Why do we have to breathe? We just want to just not be seen by anyone, but in the game,
Why
you
do we
have
have
to breathe.
lungs?
Yeah. Yeah, it's unlucky. Lung debuff is what was happening for D
dude.
plus Kia. And even then, even if they do make it away from Stalwart, guess what? You got 4MV, you got Alliance, you got so many teams playing the coast of, you're just not going to make it out. So unfortunately, late river play, not quite the good option for them. Though, this hilltop here to the east of the main mountain of Northwest Island, such a big focal point this game, Hodgix. You had Thundertalk Gaming going over there. You had also CAG Osaka. You had 4MV that had split and then went for a really good third party, by the way, to take control of some of that mountain. So that was a good spot, and the teams that sent it there knew this is going to be a great option. But unfortunately, the circle, as we saw, had different ideas in mind.
Yeah, one thing I really loved about this game, though, was the timing a lot of these teams, utilized to get those third parties going. We saw that on the hill with Thunder Talk and CAG Osaka. They started fighting. 4MV just started hauling it immediately. We're able to get that third party going, and it worked out perfectly for them. It kind of happened as well on the top side, too, near Hot 10 with Team Liquid and Team Secret as well. So, I mean, the third parties were on point. One thing I do want to see, though, from one team in particular, Maxman, is I think 4MV need to kind of go back to the basics, bro. I don't know what's going on. Doc, you always see him so far away from his squad. I understand these 3-1 splits can really work out in certain situations, but I think that it's become like almost kind of like a staple no matter what happens, and I think they need to mix it up for sure.
I was really scared when he got pushed up by CAG Osaka on that mountain, and he didn't have a car. He had to rotate back to his team by foot. I'm like, you're lucky you got away with your life there, Doc, but it's a bit risky. But as we've seen, Doc has taken those risks, Jason, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
I mean, you talked about the play towards the end as well, when he was like completely separated from his team behind a rock, Max, and you were saying like, yeah, it's a good spot to get or to pick off eliminations, but you're in a very dangerous position. You have to be very careful about how you peak, and I don't know. I really wish we got like a truthful answer from them about like why they're doing things the way they are. I mean, when Seven interviewed Doctor at the top of the show, they didn't even acknowledge like he's playing away from his team and making personal mistakes or whatnot. I'm just really curious, like, why is 4MV playing this way necessarily?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I love when teams go and say, Hodgix, that, oh, yeah, we did a mistake, we're trying to fix it, and they're very adamant on, like, yeah, we messed up big time. I'm not seeing that from 4MV, and that means, to me, at least as of right now, that I think this split is going to keep going until the end. I don't see any change happening for 4MV. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of hard because you can get into your head so easily in stages like this. I know from experience, and, like you see, well, they had a monster game under their belt, and when you have such a crazy performance, you can get inside your head easily and just say, oh, all we got to do is this every game and we're going to win this, right? And well, unfortunately, we're seeing for them, right, other teams adapt, right? CAG Osaka, the next game, camp them out on that bridge. And you can't just continue to do that same thing that worked for one game in particular. And you got to be able to mix it up here. I mean, 4MV, they're still right there. And I think that's kind of like the hard part is like they're at that point in the leaderboards where they're like, man, if we could just replicate that magic we had on day one in one game, yeah, we'll be in the top 3, we'll be good. So I said it yesterday that I would give them 5 games to play that loose. Remember that? I'm still right on board with that. I'll give them 4 more matches to kind of play this kind of crazy split. Yeah, but after that, literally the last Miramar of the day, you have to tighten things up and play for those wins. Otherwise, you're not going to make it to the top 3.
Yeah, and I want to say this one last thing about them, then we're going to move on and talk about some other things, especially when you're looking back at the overalls. They didn't play like this in PMSL. This is why I think for me it's so jarring to see just Doc so far away from his team, because he did not do this in PMSL. Unless I'm wrong, Max. Feel free to correct me.
He was playing a bit split from his team, but we have to be completely honest here, Jason. He had feeder teams, okay, in CSA compared to what you have in PMGC, and he was getting away with stuff that I think a you're not going to get away with in PMGC. You just got to tighten up that split. If you still want to play split, that's fine. Maybe instead of doing these wide 3-1s, you go to a tighter 2-2 split. Like instead of a 100-meter distance, you play like 50 meters or something like that. And especially, Jason, one thing that was lacking this game, they didn't have cars to facilitate that regrouping, and I think that is something they need to try and focus on heavily for the next few games.
You guys at home who are watching, we did this before. You guys can actually interact here and vote on who you think we should interview next. Will it be Influence Rage, Count Voin Donkey, or will it be Alliance? It's up to you guys to let us know over in the English or Indonesian YouTube channel. We have about 20 seconds left. We didn't really talk about leaderboards too much there, but I will talk about one team in particular, Vicious, who have been just falling down constantly on the leaderboards after ranking up to 4th place. With this bounce back, they go from 9th place at the end of yesterday up to 6th place. So nice to see a little bit of a bounce back for them, but whether or not they can continue that bounce is obviously left to be seen. And of course, not to mention Thunder Talk able to get themselves up to 4th place. You know, Hot Jukes, you said it. Day 3 is the real day 1 here for the team from PL. Let's see if they can continue as we head into our first Erangel of the day.
Match 14, and our teams are looking to fortify themselves in towards the latter half of the tournament for themselves in this Group Green game. It will, of course, be yet another go at Erangel. The grassy pastures away. We're coming over the shooting range hills down to the Sosnovka military base.
Second match then. First match of Erangel. Happy to see this one come through. I think we had quite a few teams change up their playstyle coming into day 3, and that's very important. I think you get halfway through your group stage and you do get to a point where you're like, maybe some things do need to change here, and we cannot keep going with how we've been playing. I think Jason makes a good point in the sense of not playing split across from the rest of his team. I don't think it's terrible though, especially that last match. It felt much better handled, at least, where he played out, but it wasn't to go for anything aggressive. It was literally just to scout out that high ground position, and it ended up paying dividends later on, where they were able to take on CAG Osaka because they had that information on them from that early game. Fortunately, a lot of teams get cut out from a nasty hat-in circle, and really that's one of the few circles in Sandhawk where it is luck of the draw. Really, it's like it goes down towards the south side, the mountaintop teams hit win. It goes towards the north side, hat-in teams win. It goes towards the centre, that Vicious team should have won, but they did not. They really did not win at all. They really had a bad time.
So little from that position that they should have been able to achieve. It could have been way more impactful, and they just let it all slip away, which is very unfortunate. A big north circle shift blank. Actually, Thunder Talk are joining 4MV on Sosnovka on the south side, so potential conflict on the bridge crossings that will come through. Could see that CAG Osaka bridge camp that we always talk about on this game. Moving on in to this match, we've also got Team Secret maybe trying to push past DRS, who are coming off the back of a chicken dinner over near Milta, but it's up to the north again, up to the shooting range hills, up to Zaverny. We've seen so many of these circles. It seems like we're just running it back every single time on this lobby.
We're not changing much, which I think some teams might not be too unhappy with. Some other teams might be like, I don't want to do this anymore. Please take us away from this position. But yeah, heading up towards Zaverny now. It was interesting that no team actually dropped in Zaverny, despite it being a viable drop spot on this playing path. I think a lot of teams were expecting this to go elsewhere. 4MV, Thunder Talks towards Team Secret, long rotate for all of them. I think this is actually becoming... There is a world now where it might be feasible to say that 4MV actually hasn't had the circles a lot, but
whoa.
Yeah, there have been other goings on. With Thunder Talks now taking 86 points as we head on the desk. Day 3 is the real day 1 of the PEL series.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep saying it every day
until until it gets to next year. We were like, 2025 is the real 2024 for the PEL teams. Goodness me, that's what we're on to next, I think. But they have managed to find some points there and get that crossing done, which was in that last match I'm talking about. Sorry, getting up to that compound that the Vicious really didn't hold, it turns out, was a great result for them. And I think they got 10 points off the back of that match. They're looking to push up. They are much closer now to D+. And if we have another game where, like the last time around, the top 3 go down fairly quickly, it's going to be a little bit easier to catch them than maybe we expected, because we have some of the largest margins between 3rd and 4th that we've seen of any group at this stage. We've been constantly being fed statistics by Dennis, which is very much appreciated. And the gap between 3rd and 4th after match 12, which is at the end of day 2, was 27 points, right, for this group. For yellow, it was 6, and for red, it was 2. So you can see how much more of a leap needs to be made. So it's good that Thundertalk are trying to take that in stride.
Still, for D+, in particular, yesterday, I think it was match 2, they broke 100 points. Since then, they have gained 8 points over the next 5 matches, including today's. So D+, has been a real drop-off in performance for them, which is how it has felt for a lot of South Korean teams, where they'll do incredibly well at the start and then slow down somewhat towards the end, which is unfortunate. Now, whether this is due to the fact that a lot of teams are looking at how D+ are rotating, but like, that's kind of a good rotate, man. Maybe we copy it and add a little twist in there. And by a twist, I mean we'll go a little wide. More. That's it. So D+ just having all of their strats just red, and everyone's like, yeah, that works. We'll do that.
Yeah, so, I mean, if it works, right? Like, you just got to be like, yeah, no, that's our strat now. And that's the danger, right, of having such a big early start to a tournament, is teams really pay attention to you. And
Not like little old Influence Rage.
No, not like Influence Range or little old RRQ from the previous games.
Yeah.
So they haven't really grown up too much into the game so far today. They had an unfortunate approach to the northeast side of Hartin in that last match. But I think that circle is just so cruel, right? Having to cross on that north side is such a dangerous circle. It's fully forgivable to have a bad time on that approach. So we'll see what they can do here into Erangel. Thundertalk, they are making their way across the east bridge uncontested, nice and chill.
Yeah, no one trying to battle out on them. Maybe 4 and V, they're quite comfortable trying to head over the western bridge as well. Realistically, CAG shouldn't have stuck around, which they haven't. C4 and V don't know that, but I think that is a reasonable call to make. But with the amount of times we've seen CAG Osaka make these wild plays in terms of staying around just to spite 4 and V, wouldn't be surprised to see it again. Here's ROQ's crossing. Again, the bridge crossings in Group Green have been rather frustrating to watch, just in terms of the little to no scouting that happens in these areas. And it is really a lot of times when I watch it, just fingers crossed, hoping for the best.
Just close your eyes. If I can't see them, they can't see me. Drive across the bridge as fast as you can and hope for the best. It's a little bit crazy, a little bit wild, but this time around for RRQ, they do get through, not entirely unscathed, but without losing a player. CAG Osaka, they have 4 players alive as well, as does everybody else in the lobby. Up and into the north side of the shooting range hills, Team Liquid slowly moving the car into the perfect position. It needs to be pitched perfect there. Make sure the parking job is spick and span. Influence Rage trying to move up as well. Everybody very familiar with these zones, with these areas. Over the last few days, we've seen them more than enough, so everybody knows their place in these ones.
Most teams in though, and again, at 7 minutes into the game, you can tell that there has been a big change in terms of mentality from a lot of our squads, in terms of really tightening up some of these rotations. I mean, I know I just complained about the bridge crossings, but we do have 64 players and 16 teams at 8 minutes in. So getting more comfortable with these early game rotates. Pubg going to be heading up towards Pachinki as our stalwart. Team Secret heading behind, comfortably in 7th place, I would say. 73 points tied right now with the Vicious. I think the big change is the fact that Thunder Talks have overtaken Pubg in 4th place. But Pubg as well as Thunder Talks both still need some big games here if they want to break up into top 3.
Shift over towards Saverni and the shooting range hills again. Goodness me. Team Secret, they're moving out on the east side. They're moving past the Yas Fields right now, close to DRS, who are also on that east side wide rotate. I think that approaching Saverni from this east edge is going to be really, really tricky, given the number of teams all attempting to do it. I don't think that we're going to see more than maybe one out of Thunder Talk, DRS, and Team Secret make it into this next circle blank. I think it's one of them who's going to have to either go somewhere else or go down.
There are a couple of spots to play, but I would agree with you. It's going to be difficult for Team Secret DRS coming in on that eastern side. RCB, though, rocking up over towards CAG Osaka. They do found Naoto off the first bat. And RCB will be happy with that one. CAG Osaka, though, they do need to find another place to go. Team Liquid, very central position, slowly working their tally upwards. Right now, a lot safer in 8th place at 67 points.
Selcom Digi Alliance up the top of the hill against D plus Kia. Favian gets run down by Jimmy there. A little bit of team damage from the nade, but you'll take it for the knock. And the very, very confident flush, I think, is going to come through. Leon going to jump in the vehicle, get that run down. Ooh, just misses. Nearly takes out the headlamp, but it's going to be all right for now. No repairs just yet. Osalo may be able to pull something out the back here. We've seen him do it before. Not this time, though. Leon able to rack up the elimination count on the ridgeline. Unfortunately, there's still Nolbu to displace. A nade over the hot top, goes high, goes long, not going to connect. A spray down, and maybe Nolbu. It's his turn to try and keep D plus Kia into this one. There's the off angle, and Chips stays in as well. The long range duel, and Olio goes down. Chips may be able to keep all 4 of D plus in. Is anyone going to third party?
There doesn't seem to be anyone looking at over towards this way. I mean, it is somewhat isolated. The only real team that could get involved here would be the Vicious, but they're all the way on that northern side, and they've got other teams to be protecting against. Team Secret, what? Kind of shot onto a stalwart. Okay. I was so confused for a second. I was like, they're on the other side of the map. Doesn't make any sense to be taking that shot. But yeah, stalwart taking shots over towards RCB as they make their way in towards the circle. How have the Thunder Talks made it to Saverni?
They just rocked up there. I mean, so 77 with the team holding towards Saverni. They had control of it, but nobody was actually fully in there. 77 regrouping down to the south point, and Thunder Talk find that window. They head first dive straight on through, and that's a great result, leaving DRS and Team Secret still at the back of the queue.
Yeah, I mean, well played, Thunder Talks. Good scouting coming from them at this probably late stage of the game for them in that terms of not having much scouting done coming through from Sosnovka in the first place. Team Secret, though, still going strong. They found a shot over towards D+. Immediately, they will lose that player. RCB taking shots over towards the Dira. They make their way in. A whole lot of eliminations coming through thick and fast here as 4&B tries to cement their position over towards that western side, and RCB continues to rattle 77.
Shifu turns
Goodbye.
around to
Thunder Talks, I guess.
just sending in real day one energy from the PEL squad. Thunder Talk able to just go where they want to go, and into the middle they are. Up towards CAG Osaka. Are they going to handle it? Seems like they might just be able to. That's why steps up and into the fight. AJ has gone down though, and that is unfortunate. A roll down from Garnet. The nade over the top. There's a slow cook on that one. Need to be careful, but out of the shack he goes, and safe he will remain. White stays alive, but they lose AJ.
Like Garnet was an easy knock and Elim there. For Hawaii, he was so distracted. Hawaii was like, I think I'll rather get inside the shack. Thank you very much. Just let his teammate go down.
They're coming to arrest Thunder Talk for making that rotate because it was illegal. don't know if you can hear the sirens in my background again.
Oh,
They're just
yeah.
keep on coming.
I can hear them now. Sorry, that caught me off guard. I had no idea what you're talking about. It was a little bit silent this time.
Okay.
The Vicious, currently in that fight between them and Team Secret, but being held out so much here, they are struggling to stay in. You know what? The Team Secrets had some good holds on the outer edges, I would say. It hasn't been the most phenomenal of gameplay from Team Secret, but I do think they're one of our teams that has certainly pulled the socks up in these matches, remained relevant somehow, some way, and this playstyle likely will secure them a survival stage.
That was a real nice pull out of the buggy with a shotgun on the tracking as well. Over towards Jackie for the Vicious. Looking to try and regain some confidence after that last match, and it will be sorely needed. Stage 3, and when the zone closes in 24 seconds, Reses won't be possible, and that might be a confirm there. Has to hop out, not going to commit to the healing, but needs to now. Right, come on, get the first aid. Reyes' only option was to go for that heal, but didn't have the confidence to stick it, to try and find the cover behind the buggy. Will go down for it. Secret going down, the Vicious going down. Neither team having a good time.
Yeah, that fight takes way too long to conclude for Team Secret. They're forced to move in. Solo with a good position before and V after scouting over towards that north side and having clear information of what's going on in the south. They'll be able to play on this western edge. There is RRQ as well as Stalwart in this area, but Stalwart's down to just 3 after 4 and V, I believe. They were able to pick up a 1 elim over their way. That's a strong spot to play in for 4 and V as well on that western edge. Not a lot of teams will be battling out against them. D+ forces out the final player from the Vicious. You know what, for D+, it was a bit of a struggle getting in towards this circle, but picking up 5 eliminations, good start to their angle. I think they wanted a decent game sooner rather than later here over on our day 3 and 5 elims with a position to move down towards the south side. Yeah, this is definitely it.
Taking a look at this circle as well, Blank, the compound on the west that Stalwart hold and the ridgeline that sits out to their west gives 4MV a big opportunity into this circle. They're looking to protect their north side right now, and you can see the RRQ may be looking to sweep down onto it, but DRS are going to be pushing in from that north side as well. So if 4MV can force this fight, transition to that ridgeline, and get rid of Stalwart's pressure on that side, they have a good opportunity. What a sweep down from King. As we turn our attention to the east side of the circle now. Mythic goes down first. Remember, they have lost a player on Thundertalk on that roll-up. AJ did go down, but they have now got control of the only building in here. But RCB want to tussle. Don't want to get sleeves rolled up, stuck into the fray. King handling 3 on the down low in the meantime. Looking for another one, and the spray around the edge of the smoke. Cardoza nearly out of ammo, has to swap to the DBS, and out he goes. Chief tries to get rid of the King and will be able to dethrone him. Just a moment too soon for him to be able to take down the rest of his team, but 2 players alive for Team Liquid. They can start to repair, piece themselves back together. RCB in the meanwhile, they've lost 2. And it is going chaotically on this east side. Brute Force are in the wings, D+ Kia as well.
But Team Liquid not quite able to handle King right up until that final moment, and it was a fight between the Chief and the King in those final throws there. Really well done, Team Liquid. RCB, I think, could have maybe got a little bit aggressive, but I don't think they realized just how much damage King had done over towards Team Liquid. So it's a miracle, really, that Team Liquid's able to get themselves back up to a 4 here. And they're not in the most comfortable scenarios, but they're certainly living at the moment. 4MV opts to head over towards that north side to try and deal with RRQ. I think he's one of their direct competitors here inside this lobby in terms of high ground, so I think it's a smart choice to go for. KYMYZ looking over towards Xing inside the shack.
Trying to stay safe, and actually it's pretty difficult to cross this open ground now with Team Liquid and RCB creating a buffer zone out on the east. When one of these teams goes down, that makes Thundertalk's shack a little bit more exposed, but Brute Force, D+, both going to be in combat over the top of the hill zone as well, which is going to make this east side a little bit slower. For the meantime, Thundertalk can stay alive. Once these conclude, they are in a lot of danger. Actually, the nade just finds its way on in and goes down nonetheless. Brute Force, okay. They commit to the fight. D+ is swept aside.
D+ out. I mean, not a horrible game for them in terms of placement points, in terms of elims, but definitely not as far as they would have liked to have gone here. Circle shifting over towards the center. Does support some of our teams that like Point Donkey. Brute Force still at 4 elims. I'm not sure what Neos is doing. Displaying dominance, I guess. Puffing out his chest a little bit versus DRS on this eastern edge. Both teams need to get further in. And that's over towards that awkward engagement that's still plowing on through between Team Liquid and RCB. I thought they could have ended much, much earlier, but Team Liquid are just given time. KYMYZ does find one, but Silas will fall in the process. Again, no one is able to third party on this one. You would expect a little bit more aggression. Brute Force, though, now finally hears it. Time to peek their heads over the top side of this hill.
Potentially pick up a lot of points so they can add to their stolen elim tally, maybe. Or just allow them to get the reses and then take them down themselves. Chief gets taken out of the vehicle. Sanchez from Stalwart, able to take those shots from across the circle. Was that over to him? No, that might have been DRS, actually, going on through. A lot of elims getting racked up now. And on the east side, Brute Force want to try and push D+ out of the way. Try and mount the offensive over towards Influence Rage. It's only 4MV now who are on the chase towards the top spots blank with 3 elims. With the eastern side, they're looking to maybe actually sweep over to the high ground. And instead of going for that ridge, transitioning down towards Stalwart's compound, they're going to try and move the edge out of the way. But Reefus getting taken out by that nade is a huge opener for RRQ. Shots from across can come through as well, as the third-party angles are right for the picking.
Yeah, this is I think it's a play that could have worked if 4MV had got slightly more aggressive earlier over towards RRQ, but time is just withering away for this squad now, and RRQ could comfortably hold this. They have a plateau, so they're not privy to a lot of those off angles coming through from the eastern side of the map. And I think 4MV would have been better off actually heading back down towards Stalwart side, who now contain this ridge. So in my opinion, there is somewhat, it's a frustrating one, because 4MV is making good calls, they are making good decisions, but they are over-committing a lot of times to those decisions. I think you head up, you try and get a pick off towards RRQ, you control the high ground, perfect, wonderful. As soon as that doesn't go your way, you know Stalwart's down towards yourself, you can't afford to give them this ridge, so you have to back off. It's just... all the ideas are there for 4MV, they're just not being executed in the proper way.
Not this time around, unfortunate. Hoping to repair themselves into today, but they still got 2 players and they're not out of it just yet. As tentative and tenuous their position may be, actually sending a player forwards. They're moving towards the middle of the circle and underneath RRQ now, with 77 putting pressure on, sweeping out to this north edge as well. Doc has managed to go for a split once more. Of course he has. Why not? In these 2-player scenarios, just getting a little bit closer to the center can be very, very beneficial, and it will keep him in. The 2 teams on the north side may look to push past this location, but as they go, they'll take shots at one another. They will suppress those positions both. Stalwart on the west cut out slightly. This is good news for Doc. I think he has legs in this position, but it's very, very dangerous even so. Okay.
Vallejo is in a weird area of the map there. No idea where that was, but a full rundown into pump shotgun shots over towards DRS, and that is them out in a blink of an eye. They were taking shots over towards Brute Force, and then came a moment where Brute Force had enough. They were sick of it. They sent down, they just removed DRS from the planes of existence, as well as the planes of this map, apparently, as we couldn't even see them.
I think he managed to get the shotgun onto the driver of the buggy before it hit him, and therefore didn't get knocked by the buggy. Slowed down in time. That's kind of crazy over on the east side from Brute Force. 7 elims now. Influence Rage on the southeast side, though, a big barrier to them, not only on the tables, but in this game as well. Brute Force cut out in the cold on the east. Shifu shots over towards Fnatic out in the open. No hope of survival. No retribution either from the rest of the team. Couldn't get the trade, which is kind of the best deal you're going to get in that scenario. Unfortunately, no one had the angle. Nade up high. Comes on through, but RRQ not connecting. Saryu not quite able to navigate that one in time. And again, these open hillsides, these third parties are brutal.
second game in a row now where Doc has been able to put up 600 damage, doing a lot of good shots over towards Stalwart right now. And it really does feel like Doc is having this situation of a retribution arc, right? Where it's the case of, look, guys, I realized that I was a little bit crazy over those past couple of days. I will now repent and pick you up a lot of eliminations for all of your troubles.
Q now with one player trying to move on through. 77 cut out in the mix. 2 players from 4MV, and they are still going. A little push. It might just be all they need to send them in towards the top 5 of this circle. Actually moving up the hill. Doc wants more of this fight. He's going up towards RRQ. The one player, maybe he thinks he can handle it, and probably he's right in this scenario. A nade up high, isolates the tree, knows that he's not going to be playing behind there now with that first nade not connecting. Has to be worried about the other angle, but no, he's not concerned. I don't think he's read into this one. He hasn't spotted that cross back out. And the flex for RRQ may be good. Refiring the angle, still doesn't know. Could be caught unawares here. Doc needs to be careful. Long range from the bottom of the hill there. That's coming through from Point Donkey. But that is going to be a third party again from Influence Rage to keep Doc safe.
LSIU is just chasing him down. He's like, please come back, Doc. Doc's like, no, I have sinned. I shall not stay out in the blue too long. I will return to my teammate. It's like, no, keep making mistakes, please.
I must go. My people, they need me. And they do at the moment right now. There's only 2 of them, so 50% of your team, not something you can risk. Stalwart over the top. Void Donkey ID have been keeping this bit safe for a while now, but teams are going to put pressure on it as they turn their attention to the center of the circle.
Influence Rage. I was actually surprised they remained in this game for as long as they did. They've done a great job, currently with 5 eliminations, brute force on that 7. So 3 2-man squads, as well as a 3-man coming through from Influence Rage. Again, Doc continues. He is seriously begging for forgiveness from his teammates right now. He's like, look, I'm going to get 9 eliminations this match. I'll put the team on our back right now, okay? Just for you guys. This one game in my backpack. Let's go.
I am so sorry, guys. Please. Please.
I am so sorry.
I like it. I like it. That's the attitude we need for a comeback. And 4MV looking to harness the inner MG3 in us all. As they move into the circle, actually getting a low ground crossing without brute force taking shots. Oh my finds Freezer. Another one. Hit him with the DJ Khaled approach to these limbs.
Doc is carving the word apology into his bullet casings right now. I love it. Neos, almost the next one to go down. If 4V can get a second place off this game, it will be a fantastic result for them, considering some of those awkward scenarios we saw on that western side come through. Doc is looking. Oh, he finds the final player. Let's go, Doc. All right, this is what we want to see. But
the 4MV going to win this one?
No, but also, this has to not go to his head. Again, this is a game about apologies. This is an apology match for Doc. The rest of his team, no more crazy plays, just discipline, just strong gameplay, good elims. Baron heads down to Void Donkey. Doesn't pick the elimination. Oh, that's a nice nade, actually. It's a little bit short.
It's difficult for Influence Rage to really get too much done. I mean, only the one nade in hand for Diego Law, the one nade as well. These are going to have super high value into the next circle, so investing them here may be a little bit too risky. Vexy is playing slow, lying in wait for Void Donkey, and up to the ridgeline. Lil Boy goes, getting that scouting done. That's the closest they've been in a while. Doc is going to try and push him back off. Knows he's been seen, so puts more pressure on. Baron from the low ground, a lot more ordnance in hand for them.
Dude, they have the inside track. Oh, please run him over. It's just chilling.
They need to be so
careful. They have the inside track. It's so good right now.
4 nades.
I know. Oh, come on. This is it. This really is it. This is where Doc can lay down the law. Right.
Literally.
I think he does need a little bit of that confidence back. And you're right. Will he lay down law? Will he take out that player on the side of Influence Rage? Vexy still down below, and RMV's very aware of it. Must have an MK12 done, I think. Absolutely hits harder. Okay, in comes the roll-up. Doc, round the side. Good shots, needs to hit something hard towards them, but goes down as Lil Boy on the front line. Baron with the nades has to be stellar.
Vexy as well can be a third-party angle on this one. The nade bobbles forwards, nearly catches Lil Boy, but his head's up on it. And there's the Molotov, pushes on through. The rollout comes out wide, and Influence Rage establishing more angles. This puts so much pressure on Baron, but he's up into Doc's rock here. Vexy, where's he? Is he going to launch a nade, get a cook, take down a player from Influence Rage? No, he's staying quiet. Still, just chill. Baron now, trying to hold his nerve as the nade finds floor. 1v2 now, and out goes Lil Boy on a wide sweep with a low profile. The buggy up and into the process as well. Step up, Baron, you need to see this, you need to see it now. There's a whiff on the spray, and Lil Boy's position is given up. Diego and Lil Boy in a 2 versus 1 against 4MV. Doc still down. The nade for Baron. Moves it forwards. Over to Lil Boy. A lot of damage in the res. A 3-player assault now for Influence Rage to the ridge line, and Vexy is still there. Don't forget about him. Avoiding Donkey on the off angle. Diego around the edge, and 4MV fall. But now the 1v3. Potential still there for Vexy. Can he make it work? No, of course he cannot. The Brazilians fight back. 4MV ain't got nothing. Contrition in his heart and will be put down in the dirt. Doc may have done a little, but he didn't do a lot.
Really good game there from Influence Rage, honestly. They had the outside edge, and it wasn't a good position to be in, but Influence Rage still make it happen. But for 4MV, though, I'm almost glad that they lost, because this means we can see more of that type of gameplay. I think they need a little bit more time before they get that chicken dinner and then start replicating that kind of performance. But we'll head it back over to the desk in the meantime so they can break this all down.
So I got one question here, gentlemen.
I'll be right back.
As we break down this game, are we watching like VODs of yesterday? What's with these zones?
Deja vu,
We're just having like exact replicates of what went down yesterday. Obviously with some different winners here, but like, what?
If you replace Influence Rage with Brute Force, I'm like, I would have double-checked my feed to make sure I was not watching yesterday's VOD, Jason, because they are eerily similar. Like, by eerily similar, I mean almost a one-to-one carbon copy right now between those two kind of areas we have between yesterday and today. And Box Compound Dukes, we saw it again be a strong position, a free ticket entry point to the late game. It gets them into the late game. They can just start spreading out to get themselves the win. A bit scary, though, because there were some good clutches coming out from Baron or 4MV, but as we see, they wrap it up because they have the high ground control, and they get themselves some good old 8 eliminations on board.
Take it to the bank, dude. It was so crazy. I saw somebody in the chat. It was just like not a single Eastern Circle in all of PMGC so far. Like, it's wild.
You're gonna say it was you don't say it like AJ, you say it like AJ.
Oh yeah. It's not AJ, it's AJ. Ah, yeah, it makes sense. You know, Influence Rage, good solid chicken dinner here. That's gonna definitely cement their top 3 just a little bit more. At the same time, you know, like with such similar zones, I thought we were gonna see the same thing from DRS. You know, just kind of like copying D plus Kia just a little bit quicker, and unfortunately it doesn't work out for them, but there's still plenty of time left for even the teams at the bottom, right? Only a couple good matches, and we can see one of these guys, you know, all the way down in 16th place, possibly even make a run for top 3.
Whoa!
Possible.
That's a bold statement.
It's still possible.
It's definitely a statement.
It's definitely something. I mean, mathematically, possible.
I mean, what is it, 50 points? 50 points to cross? I mean, that's 2 games. Two good, solid chicken dinners, and they can make that run, right? There's still plenty of matches left here. So, I mean, it's in the works, but, you know, with Influence Rage getting some good, solid points, it definitely still leaves that 3rd place, I think, open. The points are so spread. Like, it's not just like a crazy sponge at the top.
I think that we are going to be having some differences in the top 3 by the end of this group, for sure. It's going to be a little bit topsy-turvy. It's going to be a bit all over the place. But otherwise, we had some good games so far today. We had some teams at the bottom that are trying to make a little bit of a comeback here. The apology tour of Doc is happening, as Frank was said. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, move over Aero Tour. Bring me the Doc apology tour. I'm definitely a fan.
Good content. It's definitely great content. But actually, I do have to highlight a team, though. I did like what Stalwart were doing. They were given a lot of space by 4MV, and actually like, oh, well, we can actually play the compound and the ridge without having to fight 4MV directly, because for some reason 4MV wanted to get involved versus RRQ and 77 really, really early. It's like, no, we're just going to claim control of the West, get free access into the late game. Unfortunately, you can see here in the replay that making it to this hill is just flat terrain. Making that rotation when you have 3-4 teams looking your way is super hard to pull off, but at least Riley's able to just wiggle his way through and get a few extra placement point on board. So for that Stalwart, definitely a good understanding of this terrain for this match.
I'm actually interested in looking at, because I know we're focusing a lot on 4 and B here, but I feel like we have some right to do so. We definitely did see an adaptation yet again to their style. Kaga's sucking up bridge camping at all. Obviously, they